Hey everybody. Today's episode I found out last night on a news article. Today's people in their 20s find it harder to move out. And that's true. There's a lot of reasons for it, but and everybody's sort of beating around the bush as to finding out, as to why that it is. All these experts and researchers. I'm going to tell you that it's about three, maybe four, about three different reasons why, and they're all summed up answers, but nevertheless, in general, these three things is what it's about right now as to why. Now, this is not to say don't listen to the experts. Listen to them if you can keep your eyelids open, because they're going about it through every single angle while trying to answer your question. Okay? But I can dumb it down, as sure as many of you who are followers of mine, you know that I've always brought these subjects up, and I'm going to bring it up again. As sure as that now more than ever, it's turning more not only factual, but it's also turning into a way of life, part of society's way of life. And I'm going to start with inflation and shrinkflation. Okay? Consumers are faced with higher priced costs for less than the desired item, less of the desired items. A 3-bedroom house with only one bathroom and not even a garage, if you're lucky, a carport, that could cost almost $200,000. And that's here in San Antonio, Texas, okay, where everybody has been migrating over here for the cheap and affordable housing, okay, which is total BS. And the reason why I bring that up is because, again, the title of that article was 20-year-olds, I can't say kids, 20-year-olds, young adults are finding it harder and harder to move out. Now, what does the price of a house have to do with that, them moving out? Can't they just work for it and keep payments and all this other crap and blah, blah, blah? Kids are lazy and all this other crap. Well, that would be a good point if the pay wasn't so worthless as it is in this day and age. There are very limited jobs right now that provides good work with honest pay, that has their employees being able to keep up with the high costs of living, which keeps getting higher and higher as sure as inflation and shrinkflation are still a problem. Now, I understand right now at the time of this recording, July 13th, 2027, I understand that our current president has lowered the inflation, and that's great. That's great. It does not change the fact that businesses and corporations aren't paying anything equivalent to keeping up the high costs of living. The high costs of living, which is already setting a damaged level, it's set at a certain level in order to force people to pay more for what the desired item is, which is less quality, and most definitely less equivalent to its actual value. Okay, it's actually less expensive than it's actually less profitable or rewarding, especially a house in this day and age, than what they're charging you for, than what you're being charged for. It doesn't help that businesses are not paying it. As sure as there's still, to this day, I don't know what it's like in your city, but as sure as San Antonio is one of the major cities now, there are still, to this day, companies that are waving banners that says we can pay up to $14 per hour. The problem with that is that we need 15 and change. We need more than $15 for a minimum wage. Okay? So for a high cost of living area with businesses that are only paying 14 and chump change, that doesn't help. It does not help in trying to maintain a house or trying to maintain a vehicle, or a vehicle that you can live in like a house, it doesn't help. Plain and simple. And one of the main reasons for this is because here it comes again. Sorry, I'm going to pull out my soapbox from underneath. I'm going to step on it right now. And I'm going to tell you, it's all the quiet quitting, quiet firing, and quiet hiring tactics that are being done to these employees, the people who need paychecks to meet the equivalent of the high costs of living, to meet the high costs of living while all this inflation, shrinkflation is going on. Okay? Employees to this day are forced to leave their jobs due to mistreatments from their higher-ups and or employers. Okay? By way of those mistreatments, the employer gets to mark the employee's progress as bad productivity and gets to legally fire that employee. Okay? In effect, it's also damaging the work credibility of that employee because of those mistreatments that they can't and will not put up with, which is, it's their right. It's every employee's right. I've told you about this many a times throughout the past years since I've started this thing as an Uber driver that would get passengers jumping into my ride and saying, well, I'm not working with this place anymore. And I'd be kind of stunned. I'd like, what's going on? And that's when I found out the mistreatments of like the team leader all the way up to the employer, the business owner, forcing these employees to walk out and not come back and go look for some other job because of how badly they're being treated. And here's the thing. It wasn't just that one. There's tons of them that jumped into my vehicle and drive. There were tons of them that hopped into my ride and they were just stressed out. They were stressed out and fatigued to go into this place that didn't even offer the federally mandated regular wage. Okay? Well, technically, minimum wage hasn't been risen yet. Okay? I think it's still only, $10 or something like that. While here in Texas, the state minimum wage is $7.25. So, mistreatments due to them leaving or getting fired leads to the employer to hire a new person who undergoes the same mistreatments the previous employee went through, and the quiet quitting, quiet firing, quiet hiring cycle repeats itself. Okay? None of this is of any help to the people, especially these young adult kids, 20-year-olds, who are going through this crap more so than most. Don't get me wrong, there are some, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, up to 50-year-olds. One of the reasons why I just stuck to delivery driver was to get away from these assholes and just stay on the road. Okay? But see, here's the thing. I've got the tenor for it. I've got experience. I'm broken in. You can't expect these 20-year-olds to be able to do this. It's beyond the conceivable. It's scary. It's beyond their conceivability sometimes. Well, for the most part. Because amongst loading up my van with whatever merchandise that needs to be delivered, whatever items that needs to be delivered, I'm listening to these young adults who can't even picture it. They can't picture this type of work that I do. Delivery for some chump change. Delivery for some chump change. Sometimes taking up to 14, 16 hours a day, and just being nothing but, driving. And I understand that because some of them still, I could see, they still don't know that there's times where you're driving and you want to do something like rub your eyes, but you're still looking at lane lines. And they're like, it freaks you out. You have to pull over and close your eyes for a little bit to get your equilibrium back, because that's the first sign of road fatigue. Okay? So these young workers, young adults who are confessing these testimonials, giving these testimonials to me, some of them also don't see the repercussions of any of this stuff. Okay, worthless pay to a quiet, quitting, firing, hiring job where you can't even get stuck with the job. You get what you pay for desired item, whether it be a house or a car or whatever. Okay, you can't even get stuck with the item in a you get what you pay for scene because you're not making any money. None of that is a motivation to make one's own way of life. Okay, everybody's entitled to live their life the way they want to. The partier, the home person, the theater lovers, the amusement parks, the ones with the weekend passes to swimming and all that. Swimmers, surfers, hunters, fishermen, bakers, cooking clubs, book clubs, and all this other crap. There's ways of life to live, but they can't do that because they're too busy working these worthless paying jobs under the subjectation of being a quiet quitter or quiet fired or quietly hired and all this good stuff, being thrown into that cycle again. The repercussions of this is that it's no motivation to make your own way of life. And to top it all off, the house, the car, you mess up on these payments with any other items of similarity, and it can damage your credit. And in this day and age, that's very harmful to the consumers. And you're wanting these young 20-year-olds, we're getting these 20-year-olds to try to go through those motions, which is just total bullcrap. You can't blame these youngsters for staying at home. You can't blame them for staying at home with all of this crap going on, because there's the pitching in the rent and bills and all this stuff might not always be available because of the simple fact that they might not have their job 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month down the line. They could get so accustomed to working and everything, and then they're fired just like that, or they're desperately looking for another job, jumping onto an entirely another job, which might put them into the same mistreated cycle that they were in, no differently than the previous job. Okay, and then to top it off, for different pay for intro and different hours that for the pay and all this stuff, they could say we could pay $16.50 an hour, but you're only working 4 to 6 hours a day, 5 days out of the week, 4 or 5 days out of the week. That's the equivalent of somebody working $14 for 40 hours a week. You see what I'm saying? I mean, not literally, but you see what I'm saying. You're not being paid what you're supposed to be paid to meet the high costs of living. To try for any of these things has become completely pointless. Okay? So what do you do? What do you do? Well, we need here comes the politics. I'm sorry. Here comes pulling out that soapbox again. I think I was still on it. Here comes to pulling out the proverbial soapbox and start throwing my fist around, air punching a lot of stuff. This is just my advice, and you don't have to follow it. However, it is the same thing of what all those darn experts are saying, using their educated lingy, using correct policies that they found out through the economics field, which just goes over all of our heads. We don't know what the hell they're saying. So I'm dumbing it down for us, okay? Pardon the expression, dumbing down, but I'm old school. I say it like it is, as opposed to trying to be too formal. Now I'm watching my cussing, as you've noticed, but right now that's about the best that I can do. Okay, so I'm dumbing it down to this. My advice, Chris's comments advice, Chris's comments on common sense on common ground advice, Chris's comments on common sense, because I'm one of you. I'm a delivery guy trying to make a living. The only reason why I'm not out there right now is because I'm slightly under the weather. Sorry. I had to say that because I felt that cough coming up. I'm one of you guys. So I'm going to talk to you like one of you. Like you being one of me. Okay? We got to pay attention to key words out of these political leaders out there. We got to pay attention to key words like debt forgiveness, the credit in particular. Tax the wealthy. Why? Because it's that old, everybody pays their fair share of taxes, which is good for the economy, which is good for businesses and employment, so they got everything all alike. But back to the subject of kids moving out or not moving out, or moving out and staying home and all this other crap. Equal housing. You got to hear those words from these political leaders. Equal housing. Regulations. Ooh, it's such a dirty word. But nevertheless, you got to hear it from the political leaders who are willing to use it. Okay? Pay attention to the political leaders that actually are. There's a lot of them that are going to say, we need equal housing. But as soon as they're in office, they're like, yeah, well, we're going to have a meeting about that. And yeah, well, there's a lot of con artists out there. And yeah, well, there's a lot of people that want to do. There was this couple that posed as a pimp and a prostitute, and they got a house without any question. So we're just going to stop. We're going to have the business owners, the housing owners, companies mandate everything themselves. That does not help. That's not equal housing. A couple that sabotaged a program is not helping. Bowing down to doing nothing to that couple, for crying out loud, and doing nothing for the equal housing programs. That's not saving America. That's not doing anything for us. And political leaders have this huge way, easy to manipulate, to say that they're for you and me, but at the same time, they turn their backs on us over one little scandal. It's bullcrap. Regulations is another word that we got to hear. We got to put these housing companies under heavy regulations and stop with being financially discriminative and corporate greed. What's also important, financial aid and or recovery. Those are very important keywords also. The credit card debt that Obama issued was a big help. Trump removed it and threw it away. Biden put it back in. The economy is showing better improvements. Okay? Financial aid and or recovery are very important. Those that actually have have stepped in that puddle or jumped into that same pool, that's a good way to find the political leader that's going to help us along with the big shots. Rent control for housing regulations, that is very, very important as well. Because as sure as we've got equal housing, we have people that are still saying, oh yeah, we'll sell to anybody, but it'll be this outrageous whatever with extra, with high percentage of interests that just has the homeowner, the brand new homeowner, go broke and is forced to move out, so that way they can claim that house and resell it to the next person that falls into that trap. We all know this. So rent control for the housing regulations are other keywords. And you got to pay attention to the political leaders using those keywords. Because again, some are full of crap. And it's very difficult to find out who is and isn't without doing research. Because not all of them that are saying, we're for rent control, I'm for rent control, none of them really have had that kind of reputation as, say, Katie Porter or Elizabeth Warren. Now, those two are no-brainers. We want them to stay into politics, and we want them to keep on as much power as we can give them, because of the simple fact that these are the same people that put banks, corporations, Wall Street in the spotlight, questioning them about their financial corruption. Okay? And they face demonizations from those corrupt people, from those corrupt corporations, from corruption of investors and all this good stuff, representatives and all that. They've been called Pocahontas. They've just said they've totally disregarded Katie Porter. They've had been called name calls. They've been ugly shame, fat shame, whatever shame. They've just been plain demonized and all this good stuff. So not all particular leaders who would cheer for Porter and Warren have stepped in or even close to that particular ring of fire. Okay? They're not even in the range of fire. Okay? They're on the same side, but they haven't got the guts and they've never put up their dukes to take a couple of swings and have to eat a couple of swings, have to eat a couple of punches from these corporations and all this stuff. So you have to do research around your neck of the woods, okay? Finding the political leaders who can face off the corrupted, I think I just said that, who's put today's society in the spot we're in today will be a challenging task, but it's important that we do find them. We have to find them and just do our research. Guys, we're listening to these experts who are on our side, okay? They're just not narrowing it down to where we can all understand and we can all, use as a guide to better ourselves politically all the way down to society's levels, okay? Inflation, shrinkflation, worthless pay, and the quiet quitting, firing, and hiring. Those are the three main things that we've got going on against us, all the way down to today's youth who can't take care of us elderly, in the future, who can't get up on their own 2 feet. And it's gonna cause some very serious repercussions, if not is already doing. So we just gotta look for the political leaders, give the unknowns a shot, following that, despite providing that they followed this little personal list of ours, housing, equality, regulations, okay, and stuff that permit, and that they're using those keywords and elaborating as to how we the people can put those to our use, to put those to the best usage, to put those for the youth. Like you and I might be okay, but the youth are trapped, and they need to be free enough to grow, stand on their 2 feet, make a name for themselves, or live quietly, not give a damn about making a name for themselves. Either way, they need that option, and they don't have that option at all. So you guys, I know you guys have something to say about this. I'm going to disregard language. I do, however, still hope that if you do comment on my comments section, which here comes the like, comment, subscribe thing. But in regards to comment, if you do, please try not to just mudsling. Don't just comment to say, F you or whatever, Please put in some actual informative voice. Please use your voice. Don't just be a punk. Don't just be some commentive punk. Please. Because all of this stuff that I've come up with is after constantly hearing about, reading about, listening to, watching it on YouTube, since 2021 when I first started this. And before that, before I started voicing my opinion. But I'm still open to added information. I'm still open to updated data. I'm still open to reading your comments. Okay? And absorbing whatever knowledge you guys got to share. Okay? So please don't just be some commentative posting douche. Throw your comments out there that of what you know and what you can share with me, and I can share with all of you and everybody else that's watching that decides to take a chance to see me with my ball cap and sitting around and all this good stuff, no makeup and all this other crap. It's like, what the hell is that? And so they tap on it. I've done it quite a few times myself. But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy to share all of your information. I'm very happy to just message. I don't need to be a star. I don't need to be your leader. Not when you got somebody that's even way better than I am. You got Brian Tyler Cohen, BTC. You got the Dollarmore Show with Jesse Dollar and his wife Brittany Page. They do their research. They're throwing it all out there and stuff. And you got somebody that does his research. He doesn't show it because he dresses. His name is Bo of the Fifth Column. He doesn't show it, but you can tell that he's already done his research. As sure as he looks so wise, so smart. He looks so wise. Like he knows, like he's got all this wisdom. I call him my internet Zen master, because he's just like that. And he says, he finishes off with, anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all take care. And he leaves, and you're sitting there looking at your screen going, wow. You can tell he does his research, but he keeps it down low. He keeps it common with the rest of us. The redneck liberal, Ring of Fire, speaking of Ring of Fire, Fair and Balanced, they're all real good at what they do. I'm just talking to you like the guy around the barbecue pit. Huge difference between me and them. So again, I'm not trying to be your star motivator. I'm not trying to be your Zen master. Okay, I'm just talking common sense, common ground. No differently than would it be if we were, at the fishing hole. Okay, so y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. That's all I have to say. Let's all keep on taking care of each other. There's still a lot of crime that requires us to be aware of our surroundings, and there's still a lot of mishaps that require us to give a helping hand, and it's a good thing. There's some people that are, picking up somebody that got hit by a car or a mugger, picking them up off the ground and moving them to a safer location while calling EMS. There's still people that are following criminals that just got done, crashing into somebody, hitting somebody, attacking somebody, and thinks that they're slick trying to drive away. And there's somebody on the phone following them with videotaping them and all this good stuff, trying to make their escape. Those guys are getting caught, So what we are doing as people is a good thing. I know we poke fun of you guys. We poke fun of people videotaping. Oh my God, somebody needs to call the police. Oh no. This is just the glasses, but you see what I'm doing, holding it like it's a phone. Oh no, recording this. Has anybody called the EMS? I know they're being poked fun of. I'm being poked fun of for doing that myself, because I'm one of the guys, as sure as I'm a delivery driver, pressing the record button on my phone while recording this dude that almost sideswiped somebody, almost ran somebody off the road on the oncoming lane. Okay, I'm the one jotted down recordings, and I'm also jotting down license plates and making models and all this good stuff of douchebags that are doing that kind of stuff. I'm one of them, and I'm at least reporting it after I've gotten the data record, and then I can pull over and call the police and say, "Hi, I'm making a citizen's report." Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm one of the guys that you guys are poking fun of also, but I can take that with a grain of salt because I'm still at least getting the citizen's report accomplished, and so should you. And I commend anybody and everybody that actually does more than just thing, takes the tie off and use it as a tourniquet for somebody that just got stabbed. Big props goes to that guy. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that pulled a dog out of something that almost tore it up. Out of a drain or out of a, whatever. Big props goes to you. I commend you. You guys are bad. Not that I wouldn't do that, but at the same time, I'm driving a lot. I usually am not around any place where something like that happens. It usually doesn't happen on the road where I get to do an animal rescue. All right. I've already taken up over 30 dang minutes, so I'm just going to close it off. Y'all take care. Take care of each other. It's working. And we'll see you next time, all right? This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out. Keep on keeping on, y'all.